All right, hello, my name is Dave, one of the trainers from Michigan State University. Today I'm working with Aaron, David, and in the basket we have Dean. Today we're going to be looking at the rigging of the Stokes litter basket. In a previous module we looked at the patient packaging side of things, how to lash the patient in the basket, how to pad the basket for the comfort of the patient and the security of the patient. Today we want to get the rope system connected to it. So in our demonstration today you see that we've eliminated the padding portion. We just have the patient secured in the basket using some straps so that it kind of cleans up our demonstration a little bit. So as we start through the process, once we get our patient packaged in the basket, the next step is to connect them to the litter bridle, connect the litter bridle rather to the litter. Pretty typical litter bridle we're using here today. We'll get that hooked up. And as they're doing that, keep in mind that once you get it connected, one of the things that you're going to want to be doing is centering the litter bridle over the patient's navel. In other words, this connection point here, the tri-link in our example, is going, if I dropped a string or a weight down from there, it would be hanging right about the patient's navel. And that will serve to balance the litter out pretty close for most folk. The other thing we want to do is we want to adjust the overall height, or what we sometimes refer to as gain, of the litter bridle, and keep that relatively short. That allows us the best opportunity to lift the bridle, the litter package up and over a handrail or a parapet wall or something of that nature. So the guys make the adjustments there. Make sure the straps are all neat and clean. The carabiners are connected in there with the gates on the inside of the litter with the locking nuts in the vibrating down position so that everything stays tight. Then we can connect it to our rope systems. Our rope systems come pre-built for rescue from fall protection, so they have pick-off straps and carabiners in place. We don't need any of those for our litter operation, so we can just simply unclip those and set those aside, and we can put the loop of the figure 8 on a bite directly into the tri-link on the bridle and make our connection that way. That does two things for us. It further reduces the head space or the gain of our system, and it also eliminates a carabiner on our belay line, which of course we're always trying to do when possible, so that if there is a shock or an impact load, we're not potentially side loading a carabiner. Once that's connected, we need to speak briefly about the training environment. During a normal emergency response, this rigging as we see it right now might be adequate for the evolution, but we do have a problem with a critical point. The litter bridle here, or the tri-link, is a critical point in our system, and what that means is that if that were to fail, we would lose the rescue package, even though I have two ropes connected to it. So to answer for that, particularly in training, we always want to have our patient in a harness, and then we connect them to a second point by using the pick-off strap. We connect the one end of the strap to their harness, the other end into the loop of the main line, and then adjust that, shorten that down, so that if there were a problem with the litter bridle, the patient is still going to be connected to our rope system through the pick-off strap. So now we see that even if I lost this tri-link or some leg of the bridle, Dean is still connected in here to the pick-off strap. All right? So pretty quick. It should go together fast like this. Quick adjustments to get the thing squared away. One final check, make sure all your carabiners are locked, and we're ready to move on. All right, we're going to take a look at the rigging that we're going to be using for the typical patient transfer operation. We're looking right now at our mainline system. That's our red rope, and you'll see that we have the red rope rigged through our friction device, the Petzl ID. We've got it attached to an anchor that incorporates a rigging plate that allows us to include the extra carabiner for the additional friction we'll need during the lower, and also to give us room to attach our pulley system that we can use for the raising operation. So everything's in place. Safety checks have been done for that. Typical operation then is going to start by removing all the slack from the system. So Dean will pull the slack through the ID. And one final look at everything, make sure everything's lined up. We don't have any side-loaded carabiners and so forth. And then our next move then is to go up to raise the litter up over typically a handrail, or it could be a parapet wall or something along those lines. So Aaron is going to be the haul team, so we're ready. We go up rope and stop If we need to reset this again, Dean simply needs to just lock the handle on the ID. The haul team can then run the haul system back out to get another bite. He unlocks the handle again, and we can go up rope again as needed, and taking up the slack as we go. Okay, stop. Now the litter has cleared the handrail. We're ready for down. So two things have to happen. First, the haul team takes their pulley system out of off the rope. Rope grab. And as soon as they get enough working space, then the guy operating the lowering system can clip the rope back into that extra carabiner for the additional friction. And then he is in the lowering mode. And again, when the checks are done, we can go down rope and lower the litter down to the ground.
Got it.
All right, we've taken a look at the main line. Now we want to take a look at the belay line side of things. A pretty standard belay setup. We have an anchor attachment with a sling, the Traverse 540 connected to that anchor. Safety checks have been done, carabiners locked, correctly oriented, the device is rigged appropriately, and then the first move for our belay system in these evolutions is typically up. So as we start moving up, the belayer then feeds rope in from the load side of the device while pulling rope out towards the bag side. The key point here is to always keep your brake hand on the free end of the rope, never letting that go. We get to the appropriate height, we can stop, prepare for down. The belay operator then simply just grips the rope in the load side and allows the load as it's being lowered to pull through his hand and guides rope in from the free end, the bag side, as the load is being lowered. Pretty straightforward operation for the belayer. Short raise and then a lowering operation. The last step of our procedure before we start the operation is to complete the safety checks. And we'd like to start those typically at the belay side of things. Whenever possible, we'd like to have someone other than the person who built the system conduct the safety check, so we get a separate set of eyes on that. So in this case, Dean is going to perform the safety check on the belay side. He verifies the anchor connections, the rigging of the, or in this case the 540, verifies that the carabiners are locked and correctly oriented, follows the rope, in this case up to our overhead anchor, and he can't physically touch that. He can't get his hands on it, so he can at least visualize that the carabiner is correctly oriented, that it's locked, and that the rope's not going to rub on anything that might cause damage.
Belay safety check complete.
Then moving along, we'll have David check the litter basket. He starts right from that belay line where Dean finished up, verifies the knot is tied correctly, dressed, pre-tensioned, that it's connected to the litter bridle, and that screw gate is locked up on the tri-link. The connection points to the litter, just give the carabiners a quick squeeze, verify that they're locked, and observe that they are correctly oriented. Gates on the inside, both on the head end and the foot end. Verifies the belay connection to your patient. In this case, our pick-off strap. Again, squeeze the carabiner, make sure it's locked. He sees that the strap is tied off, and carabiners are correctly oriented. And then he can follow that main line, then back up, checks the knot, checks the path of the rope, visually inspects the overhead anchor if he can't reach it, and follows that down towards the change of direction pulley.
Litter safety check complete.
And then Aaron will check the main line, starting at that change of direction pulley. Again, checking carabiner orientation. He finds a carabiner that's upside down and quickly corrects that. Checks the dressing of the knots, carabiner orientation, lock system. Finds checks the main line anchor system, connection points there. Again, everything locked, no sharp edges, nothing twisted or crossed up. And there he corrects a little bit of a fouling in the rope so that everything is good to go on that end.
Mainline check complete.
And once our safety checks are complete, then we're ready to begin the operation of the system. I'm doing a little tag rope, and so Aaron will probably have to make a
As
transition.
soon as you say tag lines up rope, that's probably when, and we can do a little bit more, but that's when we'll cut and take a second look.
Okay.
Aaron, you need some gloves.
Okay.
Got some?
No.
There.
If only you had noticed that we were coming here today.
I texted you yesterday, but I'm not going to bring that up right now.
I sent you a text back.
Thank
Can
you.
you bring the keys and a helmet?
You said don't worry
Yes
about the
on
helmet.
keys, no on helmet.
Don't worry about it. Fine.
then you gotta talk to him. Look good.
Careful with those.
You seem nice.
They're like the Red Rocket.
Yeah, be careful.
Where is the Red Rocket?
I want to talk about it.
Oh, sorry. Source map?
It's in hospice.
Keep her in your prayers. It's already
So
asked
the
that.
Red
In
Rocket-
confidence, Alan.
The Red Rocket has moved to hospice care.
Not quite hospice yet. She might be there soon. Had a couple checkups. So I'm
Angie say you had to get rid of it? or
Um,
what?
We'll
Did
talk
it look
about
bad
that
or
later.
what? Okay.
Whoa. Now we're getting to the
It's
meat
not
of it.
safe to drive. Yes, it is.
You're not putting my kids in there.
Okay.
When we do this little raising thing, when we get maybe the first lift, I'll make the point that you might want to pause briefly in your operation to verify the angle of the litter, make sure you don't have any side-loaded carabiners, kind of a quick visual scan, no rope rubbing, that kind of a thing, now that the system's under tension, and then we'll continue the raise, okay? Good with that?
Good.
Okay.
Let's put the litter on the ground and
So let's go up rope enough to get this thing back to the edge and
on the back bar.
All right, we've done our safety checks. We're ready to begin our operations. The operations will typically be conducted by that rescue team officer. And as an aid to that person, on the back side of the rescue team officer worksheet is a series of commands that you can use to reference, or to run, rather, this operation. So it helps guide you right through that to make sure that nothing gets overlooked, everything gets touched on in the order that it should be. So I'll be the rescue team officer for this evolution. We've staffed our various positions, so as the operations are ready to go, the rescue team officer will announce that we're beginning. So operations are about to begin. Take your positions. Belay man ready?
Belay ready.
Main line ready.
Mainline ready.
Haul team ready.
All team ready.
If there's an edge attendant, somebody to help manage the litter at the edge, we'll check with them. I'll play that role today. And also if we have people on the ground manning the tag lines, we would check to ensure that they're ready. One last double check with the safety officer, if there is one, to verify that all systems have been double checked. Safety's ready. On belay.
Belay on.
Mainline, prepare for up.
Line ready to raise.
All right, and up rope. As the litter starts to come up, once you get them up about this point, stop.
Stop.
This is your last opportunity to make any final adjustments. If you should need to raise or lower the foot of the litter, if a carabiner got flipped over sideways, now's your last chance to make those corrections. So just a quick visual scan, make sure that everything's lined up good, everything's oriented correctly. This is your opportunity for that. If everything looks good, then simply continue with the raising operation. Up rope.
Up rope. Reset.
Okay. The haul team can reset as needed, and then just up rope when you're ready, guys. And stop.
Stop.
Okay, we've got him up high enough to clear the edge. Mainline, prepare for down. Advise when ready. And at this point, we'd have the tagline operators on the ground start taking
Mainline
up
ready.
tension. All right, tagline's ready.
Tagline's ready.
Down slow. Down. Down. About halfway. Take up a little, Aaron. Good. Down. 2 feet. 1 foot. Patience on the ground. Slack on main. All stop. Good job.